welcome to Pitch to Screen podcast. I am your host, Kelly Thorne. Today, our guest is Cleo Tellier. Cleo is a writer, producer, and director. Her film Mishka got over 52 million views on YouTube, and we're going to find out how she did it. So, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us.
Of course.
Honestly, I'm sure you've heard this so much, I was so affected by what you did. It's a difficult topic to talk about. I can only imagine. I want to ask you more, but there's a lot of taboo, I think, that I've experienced still around it.
Definitely, yeah.
So what specifically was the instance where you're like, you know what, this is the topic I want to tackle?
Yeah. Well, growing up, I had many family members that were sexually abused as children, and I knew about it because one of the abuser was still in the family, so still showing up to, birthday parties and things like that, and I was told to be careful about that specific person and stuff. And growing up about this, it was kind of disturbing in a way, even though I wasn't traumatized because I wasn't sexually abused. It was very disturbing, not understanding why would someone who commits such a big crime several times still be around in the family? Why would no one tell the police? I just didn't really fully understand. And becoming an adult and still kind of having this person in my life, I started to be kind of upset about it. And I did some digging around, read a lot about the topic. And that's when I decided to make my first short film in my first year at university, which is a documentary called The Silence. And it's a documentary about child abuse, mostly sexual abuse, but all types of abuse. And so, talking with so many different people who were abused, that kind of really made me understand more about the taboo and why people keep it a secret and things like that. And that's kind of really what made me want to make a second short film specifically about incest.
So I watched The Silence, and it definitely didn't seem like something that was done in school. It just having you started out with an older woman's voice.
Yeah.
About what happened to her in childhood and how it's still affecting her to this day. And I was really moved by
Thank you.
everybody's stories. And then what made you jump from something more artistic like that to Mishka, which is for our audience members who haven't seen it, see it. It's really powerful. For our audience members who haven't seen that, if you want to just quickly describe why you moved from something more artistic to perhaps a
fiction piece. Yeah, I think I never really wanted to do a documentary in the first place, but at school it was mandatory. We had to make a documentary for school, and so I kind of decided, but that's why I kind of did a lot of reenactment, because I didn't really like the idea of just filming people sitting telling their stories. I kind of wanted to be more visual, showing their stories as well. And so I was always looking forward to make a fiction piece. And so for my second year at school, I wrote my short film Mishka. So I wrote the script and I gave it to my teacher, and she gave me a D. So I actually failed that specific assignment. She thought it was bad. It's just one of that moment where I was kind of discouraged, but I was like, okay, it's just one person, I can still do it. So what I did is that I took the script and I applied to third year fiction, because the way my school works is that you have to kind of send your script for that specific course, and there's only 10 students that will actually make their film. And so that other teacher also told me that it was bad and that I shouldn't make it. So now it was two teachers who told me that it was bad. And now I was kind of oh no, is it bad? One person, you're okay, they're just wrong. But now that it's two people, you're should I not make it? What should I do? And I just decided, that I still wanted to do it. And so I actually dropped out of school after my 2 years of school. I dropped out and I took my own money to make this short film Mishka. And then, I applied to film festivals and I got rejected to over 100 film festivals. So every single film festival that I applied to, I got rejected. And that's why I put my short film on YouTube, and that's how it went viral.
That is the most amazing story. Where did you go to university?
I went to York University in Toronto.
And did you ever return to university after that?
I went, it's so funny. I actually went once because the school itself invited me to be a guest speaker to talk about my short film and my experience making this film.
That's amazing. But I mean, that's really what it is. It's like right now, I say that we're in the age of transparency, and
Yeah.
that like everything is online. And right now, the judge and jury of a lot of things, including if a movie or a film is good or not, it's just everybody. And two people at university in 1970 had the power to say, you know what, this is bad. And then artists like you are going to say, oh, maybe I shouldn't show this. But right now, the power is with the people.
I agree.
The people have spoken. The people have said that your pieces are fantastic, and there's so many views and so much talk around it that two people, I mean, they could have their own issues around this subject.
Yeah.
But it is something that people do try to squash. So
Definitely, I did kind of try to reach out to some film festivals to try to figure out like why they didn't select my film, and a lot of them said we thought it was very good, but it's just so sad and upsetting, and this topic is kind of we don't want people leaving the festival and just being depressed, and we don't want to show that type of topics at our festivals.
really interesting, I mean, it's all the more reason to do it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Definitely.
So moving forward with Mishka 2, how are you going to go about doing that in terms of pre-production? Who are you working with? And then how are you going to try to do film festivals again, or are you just going to put it on YouTube?
So basically, the Mishka 2 it's actually a TV series. And so right now I'm in development for the series, and I have a production company called Production Toro. So it's not my production company, but it's a production company based in Montreal. They make TV shows. And so unfortunately, because of that, I can't really discuss anything in regards to Mishka 2, but it's pretty exciting because it's a much bigger, better project than just one short film. And so I'm hoping, having it with an actual network, it's going to impact way more people.
Wow, I freaking love that. That's really cool. So
Thanks.
what would you tell a burgeoning artist right now if you had to give them any advice? Just anything from pitch to screen.
Yeah. I think, I have so many advice, but I think the most important things for me, it's really, first of all, to believe in your project and in the reason why you're doing this. Because if I look at how many people told me that my script sucks, it's, probably 99.9% of the people who read it. And yet, when I got all that negative feedback, there was no way to tell if I was the one who was right or who was wrong. But if you look at the statistics, it could have been easy to give up and think, well, those people are probably right, since so many of them told me that it's not good, and yet I still had this conviction inside of me that it was so important to talk about it. It was worth it. It was good. I just really believed in this project, and I was like, I have to do it, even if it's hard, even if no one's on my side, I just have to do it. And now I'm so grateful that I didn't give up. I'm so grateful that I believed in it, even when not even one person did. And so that would be honestly my number one advice, is there's always going to have lots of people who are against you, against your project. This is a normal part of, any idea, a normal part of the film process. And so you just got to keep going, like no matter what, stick with your idea and just follow your own instinct.
That's fantastic advice. The film industry has such a profound impact that you doing what you do and speaking about these hard topics is going to give people an ability to say, you know what, this is something I can talk about.
I hope so. That's literally the goal of the film. I hope we can start talking about it more and just making a difference for young girls, so that hopefully they don't have to keep it silent the way people have, in our generation.
I agree 100%. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Well, Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate your artistry and all of your hard work and tackling the tough topics that no one wants to talk about, and you're doing it. And I'm really glad that other people are really noticing. So thank
you
you
so much.